We are looking toward the future this morning and talking to a futurist. David Houle can predict what the world will look like in the next 20 years, and we're so lucky that he's here to share it with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
What exactly is a futurist? This might be a new term for a lot of people out there.
Well, it is. I always get asked, you're the first futurist I've ever met.
Yeah.
I define what I do as being a catalyst to get people, businesses in the world to think about the future and then to facilitate a conversation about it. So my job is to lift people out of their day-to-day and give them a chance to see what's coming and what might be ahead for them.
Kind of get some perspective on the big picture.
Exactly right.
You have a very interesting background. You know, one of the part of the team that launched MTV and Nickelodeon. How did you go from there to where we are now?
Well, people always say, how'd you become a futurist? And I've always lived ahead of the curve. I've always done things that people didn't think were going to happen. Like I was the #1 sales guy at CBS in 1980, and I got a phone call, and there was only 10% penetration of cable at the time, and people said, how'd you like to come and help us launch this channel? So it was 1980, and I was thinking, well, the last 20 years, the two most important or impactful things in popular culture was rock and roll and television. How could it miss?
Sure.
So then I became Vice President of Sales of MTV, and then we launched Nickelodeon, CNN, Headline News, and VH1. So I always done things ahead of the curve. And so about 8 years ago, I started giving some talks, and it just felt like the right thing to do, my highest value to the planet. And I had always read the great futurists of the last century, Alvin Toffler, Marshall McLuhan, and they were not real specific as to what was happening in this century. So that's why I came up with my book, The Shift Age, and started writing.
So we're going to get into some real specifics. Now,
Okay,
in your
great.
book, you talk about 30% of today's hospitals will be gone in the year 2020.
Well, I wrote a book about a year ago called The New Health Age, and we are in the new health age. We're all aware of this healthcare reform. And the simple thing, you heard it when you were a child, I heard it, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And we now have a pound of cure healthcare system, and we're moving to an ounce of prevention. So hospitals have a 30% vacancy rate right now, and they're the most expensive place to distribute healthcare. And as we become healthier and get into more preventative healthcare, we're going to move from healthcare to health management. So increasingly hospitals will go out of business because we'll need them less to some degree.
Interesting. Kind of keeping with that, you also predict that we will have replacement parts that are superior to the parts that we're born with in 10 years.
Well, that's exactly right. I always tell the story of this sprinter from South Africa in 2008. He has no legs because he was born with no fibulae, and he made the South African team, but he was disqualified from competing in the Beijing Olympics because not having legs gave an unfair advantage over those that did. So, you know, I wear glasses, say, and in 3 or 4 years, there'll be the technology where they'll be able to give me artificial eyeballs, should I want them, and a 10-year warranty and 20/20 vision. So medical miracles really are around the corner. Makes
perfect sense. Custom manufacturing through 3D printers will be the new industrial revolution?
Yeah, we've defined manufacturing as mass production, as Henry Ford did 100 years ago. And America, because we're the innovation leader in the world, we're coming up, 3D printing is the first thing. You can actually print an object. So we're going to come into a whole new definition, 21st century manufacturing, where custom one-offs will be the same price as doing mass production.
Okay, and then finally, Brainwave computer interface will be the next human interface with computer technology.
Yeah, it's kind of scary for some folks.
That is scary.
But there's programs right now for like $300 where you put on a headset, it maps your neural waves, your brain waves, and you can interact and with your mind give instructions to your computer. And I've talked to CEOs of video game companies who've said in 3 or 4 years the controller will go away and you just do brainwave interface with the video games.
Gosh.
Think about the level of concentration that will develop in all of us.
Oh my God, it is a scary thing to think about.
Well, it's exciting on the other hand.
It's scary and exciting.
You won't need the mouse, you won't need the touch screen, just say turn, you know.
I suppose so. Well, it's very fascinating what you do, and the great thing is that it makes a lot of sense. You know, it's kind of practical things that do make a lot of sense. So talk about the talk that you're giving today.
Well, yeah, I'm speaking to the Club Managers Association of America. These are the people that run all the private clubs in the United States, about 1,800 of them, about their future, because they've got some issues that they have to wrestle with. But as I say, you know, my book, Entering the Shift Age, there's so many people who have anxiety about the future, particularly today with all the change, and I'm just trying to give people a roadmap to the future where it gives them a context to better understand what's happening.
Kind of peace of mind, too.
Peace of mind and a roadmap. And so if you do read that and you just think about you know, some of the things I talk about, how great it is to be alive that we're having all these replacement parts and we might be able to live to be 100 years old.
Sure, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
So Entering the Shift Age by David Houle. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate your
Appreciate
talk.
it.
Thank you.